Let's find some day trades, swing trades, and option trades. Hello, traders. We're 3 hours into trading. It is August 23rd, Monday morning. Nice gap higher, new all-time high for the S&P 500, and nothing after that opening gap. Let's take a look at the chart. You can see the opening gap higher on the S&P 500, and we have been trapped pretty much within this range here that was established in the first 90 minutes of trading. We're not going anywhere. Maybe later today we get a little bit of a breakout. I would have to say that I would think that we have a better chance of taking out the low than we do of closing on the high. But at this juncture, it's anyone's guess. You can see how we had this nice rally early in the day. We had this spike in 10p. We took some shorts in here. I shorted Apple. It was weak relative to the market. I made $5 on that trade. I really haven't done much today. The market's been so dang flat. Let's take a look at that daily chart. You can see that that's the breakout that we had today. Look at how tight the price action has been the last 2 weeks. We haven't gone anywhere. So yes, the momentum points higher. We are gradually floating higher on a macro basis. There isn't any news right now. Earnings season is over. The economic releases are very light. Politicians are focused on their conventions. So DC is pretty quiet right now. There's nothing to drive the market. Everybody is expecting that Q3 is going to be much better than Q2 with the second wave of the coronavirus. I don't know that it's going to be. I think we're set up for a little bit of disappointment here. So, yes, coronavirus, we're having fewer new cases across the country. That's good. So that growth rate is starting to slow down. We've got some decent news, it seems like, every week on the development of vaccines. So that's also good. But I just don't see the market being able to move much higher at a current PE of 23. The market is expensive by any historical standards. So we're just biding our time right now. Very, very low volume. Let's take a look at the VXX. I have that chart here. This is a daily chart. You can see the spike we had earlier in the year, and it's continued to drift lower. What does that mean? That means that it's really hard to sell any kind of credit spreads right now because you're not getting a lot of premium, and you've got to go very, very close to the money on those spreads. One little market whiff, and those positions will be in trouble. Also, I'm noticing that the bid-ask spread on a lot of the options is widening out too because there's no movement, and market makers don't want to take a position one way or the other. Okay, well, if you can't sell spreads, then this must be a great environment to buy options. No, that's also not true because you've got a very flat market that's going nowhere. There's no momentum, so you're going to have time decay working against you. Eventually, if we start to get some really decent market movement and some momentum, then we can think about buying calls, we can think about buying puts. Option premiums have come in enough for us to consider that. So the mode that I'm in is I'm not doing a whole lot of swing trading. I'm doing some day trading. Even the day trading has been tough. So I made 3 points on an S&P futures trade this morning. I initially got short Apple. I made $2 on it. Then I tried to buy it. I lost $3 on it. Then I got short. I made $5 on it. I made a little bit of money on Caterpillar. So overall, I'm up for the day, but it's very, very slow. Wish I had better news for you. Let's take a look at what we've got going on, and then we can see if we can find a trade or two. I'll at least be able to find stocks that I like on a day trading basis. We'll go into the 5-minute chart. We'll take a look at the SPY again. And there's not a lot going here. You can see that the 10p indicator is starting to climb higher. We'd like to get a nice peak and a rollover. That would give us an opportunity to maybe take a short. I would like to see a breakdown below this compression right here. And if I were looking for shorts, we'll go into some of the bearish searches. I'm going to use heavy selling. That's a really nice one. Take a look at NVAX. That is a nasty little chart right here. You can see made that high, pulled back. That's a failed breakout. Long red candles closing on their low. We get this long tail under body, so that suggests that maybe we're a little oversold here. Get the bounce, and then the selling resumes. So now you've got this downward sloping trend line, And that gap has been filled right there. The stock is on its low of the day. It's likely to challenge that support at 110. Yeah, this is a weak stock. This is definitely one that I would be trading from the short side. And it's currently at 118.65. I think this is a nice looking short, but you're going to need help from the market. Otherwise, it's just going to bounce around. There's not going to be a lot going on. So ideally, with NVAX, here's how I would trade it. I'm going to take this alert line. I'm going to click here, and I'll click there. I've got my downward sloping alert line. Actually, I can click above there as well. When it breaks out above it, I'm going to know, hey, the stock is starting to move off the low. Maybe there's a chance for me to try and short this bounce. And I'm going to remove that because I see a little bit better line. If I click right here, I want to click on these long tails and that right there. That'll give me a little bit more room. It doesn't look like much, but on this stock, I think that's probably about $2. So I'll be waiting to see if it gets up to that level. I need to wait for the market to set up. We're right in the middle of the trading session, maybe in the last hour and a half. In the last hour of trading, there will be something, but there's just not a lot going on. So let's continue to click through. We'll look at these daily charts, see what we've got going on here. ZM, you can see this breakout to a new high. Stock's a little soft today. CHGG. This is actually a fairly weak chart right here. You can see how the stock is below that horizontal support, but it's a choppy one. Gaps up, gaps down. I don't see anything too compelling there. PLUG, don't see anything there. RAD, if it can get below that 200-day moving average, then we might have something to trade. But right now, and I'll go into that 5-minute chart, the 200-day moving average is at 1348. So I'm going to click on the M5 chart, 1348. That lines up. If it's able to take out this little support level right here, I'd be interested. Click alert, double click on the low of that candle. There's my alert line. So if the stock comes in, that will be below the 200-day moving average, and then there might be a shorting opportunity for me. That's how I have to set it up. I've got to set alerts right now. I have to look for relative weakness. I have to wait for the market to pull back. So lots of things that have to fall into place before I can trade because there's no directional movement. Go into relative week 30, see if there's anything there. Overstock has been just such a hot stock. You can see the relative weakness there. It's about to challenge the low of the day. Can set a little alert right here. Let me know if that's breached on a daily chart. I'm sure it looks pretty good. Look at that parabolic move. I can't, in good conscience, short anything like this until I see at very least an upward sloping trend line like that violated. Otherwise, I think a lot of this move has been sparked by short covering. So let's set a GTC alert. At some point, I would like to short this stock, especially if it's able to break an upward sloping trend line like that. But right here, right now, no, this long green candle, the halfway point, would also be a nice opportunity to try a short intraday, not overnight, intraday, because that's also breaking below that prior resistance. Just going to click through. Nike's actually looking pretty good. DE looks really good. You can see this breakout through horizontal resistance before the before the open earnings announcement right there. That was all really nice. So I like DE. DE actually looks like it wants to continue to move higher. AMD, just looking for anything that looks good in here. Caterpillar, just not a lot to really look at because the market's been in such a tight trading range. So I'm just going to click through and see if anything strikes me, and I'm not seeing it right now. So take a look at the long side. I'd have to say that out of anything that I've shown you, NVAX is probably the best looking short. So got that, and then I'm going to go into the long side, and we'll take a look at heavy buying. Apple, really nice. Apple, to me, this is overextended. It's through the upper end of this upward sloping trend line. Those are usually buying climaxes, and then you see a reversal off of that high. So I would not be holding Apple overnight. Lulu, that's pretty nice. Again, everything right now is going parabolic. BABA, that's actually a pretty nice breakout right there. You've got 1, 2 tests of that support level. Now it's through. NVAX has breached above the trend line that I drew, so we'll go back and take a look at how that alert came through. And remember that downward sloping trend line that I drew right here? Now it's triggered and it tells me, hey, the stock is moving higher. Maybe there's an opportunity for you there. No, there's not, but I'm going to click on the low of this bar now, and I have a horizontal. It'll initially be vertical, but I'll have a horizontal alert line so that if the stock does break that low from this current bar, I'm going to get an alert. Keep looking. Lulu. BA actually looked pretty strong today, but it hasn't been able to really power higher. LOW looks good. That stock has relative strength. If I put 1 OSI up, our indicator, you can see how the orange line is above 0, and that is an indication of relative strength. And yes, this stock is breaking out to a new high with the market doing nothing. It's got a little bit of momentum, but you can see goes higher. Oh, here we go, breakout. No, falls back. It's how most stocks are right now. I do like LOW, and got a lot of people spending money on home improvement right now. You can see the steady uptrend. So it's got good relative strength. So yes, I would say LOW on the long side looks pretty decent. And I'm going to keep going down. For any swing trades, obviously Home Depot would be in the same business as LOW. The laggards, RCL, UAL, even Caterpillar, no go, don't like it. Retailers, brick and mortar retailers, big, Kohl's, I don't like them. I don't like any of them. There's a cruise line in there. I wouldn't hold any of those overnight. Marvel looked pretty good. So here's a classic example. I like MRVL. I think it's a good company. I like the fact that the stock had a breakout here. There's earnings before the open, so you've got your breakout. Now, that should be a support level. 1, 2, 3 tests of support and above this 100-day moving average. So I took a look to see if we could get any kind of decent credit at that 100-day moving average. So 31.79 is the 100-day moving average. We would have to go down to 31.50 for our strike price. And so I went out a couple of weeks, September 11th, which is after Labor Day. So I go down to the 31.50s and I click that. And then I click the $31 puts. Look at the bid-ask spread on these options. And Marvel's not the most illiquid stock. 35-cent bid offered at 61 cents. Really? The other strike is 38 cents, bid offered at 49 cents. I mean, you can't even get anything done. So this spread is a negative 14 cents bid offered at 23. And I went and looked for a few different trades today, and the option bid-ask spreads have widened out. So that makes it even tougher to try and get any trades done. So I think I may be concluding the presentation because I just don't have anything to show you. I took a look at AXP. I thought, well, maybe down here around the 93.50 level, you could see the 100-day moving average is at 93.75. Let's go down to 93.50. Let's see what we've got there. We'll go out a couple weeks, September 11, 93.50 puts. We'll click on that. Then we'll click on the $93 puts. I'd like to get a dime for that. Well, I can't even get a dime for that. That spread right here is a penny bid offered at 21 cents. So you can put an offer out there for 10 cents to see if you can get filled on it. That would meet my criteria. We'd be putting up 40 cents to make 10 cents. We could make 25% in 2 weeks. That fits. But I don't think you're going to be able to get that trade done unless the stock pulls back. But it has this upward sloping trend line right here. You've got support at the 100-day moving average. May not be a bad trade if you can get something like that done. When you have conditions like this, and it's super, super tough, and you see that the option bid-ask spreads are wide, there's no news, there's no volume, you have the market for the most part trapped in very, very tight intraday ranges. The ATR has fallen off dramatically on the SPY. Well, what's that? What's the ATR? I'm going to click on D1. I'm going to go into studies. I'm going to scroll down to the ATR, and that's the average true range, and that helps me identify. And we're going to go 10 periods. That helps me identify how volatile the market has been on a daily basis. And you can see how just a month ago, we were somewhere in the $6.27 per day range. So that'd be 62 S&P points was the range per day. Now we're down to about $2.80. So less than half of the normal range that we saw just a month ago. And that type of price action tells us that we really shouldn't be very active right now. So I wish I had better news for you, but if I start putting out a bunch of trade ideas to you and you start taking them, I'm fearful that you're going to lose money. Low probability trading environment. I wish I had better news for you. It's probably going to last this way for another 2 weeks or so when we get back from Labor Day holiday. Perhaps conditions will improve. I'm going to keep trying to find trades for you every day, so please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of these videos. Maybe somewhere in here I'm going to be able to find some decent trades for us. Thanks so much. Trade well. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers, and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.